Ready? I'm ready also.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sapphire, and I'm here to propose to you my topic for senior project. So, hip-hop was born in Bronx, New York during the 70s by a DJ from Jamaica, Kool DJ Herc. He birthed hip-hop by combining his Jamaican style with reggae records. From here, he looked to New York for feedback and they weren't happy, so he worked to find a new sound. Thus, you can obviously see that hip-hop has the ability of influencing. Is this topic a social issue, and does this topic benefit society? Yes, this topic is a social issue because society is actually being influenced to do good and or bad things. For example, it has good and bad influences on our race, gender, economic status, and clothing. Some logos that supports my topic. Who listens to hip hop? 75% of males, 25% of females. Age range, age 13 to 18, 16%. Age 19 to 25, 78%. Age 25 to 30, 6%. And that's the source that I got it from at the bottom. So my approach, how will I tackle this? I will focus on the different decades and how hip-hop music influenced society during those decades. My greatest tool will be articles, but I will also use a book for help. The title unknown. How will I organize my paper? So first, I will be starting with the 80s, then I'll state an artist, then I'll talk about what's going on at the time the music was being made. Then I'll try to prove that the artist had a direct influence on society. Then from there, I will go and state another decade, the 90s, and state an artist, talk about what's going on at the time the music was being made, and then try to prove that the artist had a direct influence on society. After that, I will compare if their influences, positive or negative, to the 80s. Then from there, I will state another decade, the early 2000s, and I will talk about what's going on at the time. No, I will state the artist. Then I'll talk about what's going on at the time the music was being made. Then I'll try to prove that the artist had a direct influence. And then I'll talk about the less cultural consciousness. When I say less cultural consciousness, I mean that the people weren't as much aware of their culture while still being able to understand other cultures and the differences that exist between them. And then I'll move to 2015, present day, and I'll state the artist of the time, and I'll talk about what's going on at the time when the music was being made. And then I'll try to prove that the artist had a direct influence. Then I'll compare 2015 to the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. Artists that will be mentioned within my paper for the 80s, it will be either Rakim, KRS-One, Public Enemy, or Big Daddy Kane.